opportunity to talk to Chris Koehn about his new project and about the live at home sessions he did over the course of quarantine. He talked to us about how he got into music. He was born and raised in Mexico City, always a huge music fan, picked up guitar at an early age, but it really wasn't until an accident that took his brother very suddenly that he started to write music. He wrote a song, and a friend of his who was a filmmaker heard the song and was like, this song is great. You should record it. I want to use it in the film I'm making. I want to have it as like the end piece to the whole movie. So that was his first experience recording songs. He talked to us about that experience, recording the first EP he has of original music, Songs for Yoshimi, the process behind his second record, Impermanence, and how when he would play live, he'd always throw in some cover songs when he was doing live sets. And someone from a record label heard him doing a live show and said, "Hey, do you have a recording of these cover songs? They're awesome." And he didn't, so he put together a record of all covers called Music for Films, where he covers everything from Oasis to Marvin Gaye. He talked about his recent covers of Bob Dylan and John Lennon, his live from home record, and how he had to learn how to play drums, harmonica, guitar, and sing all together as a one-man band. And he has these incredible videos of himself doing it on his Instagram. So he's going to do a vinyl pressing of the live from home songs he did and donate the money to the same charity he was supporting with the live from home sessions. And he also talked about putting out some new music in August. So make sure to check that out. And we'd love it if you check out our YouTube channel and Facebook page. We have some video interviews up there. We have over 700 interviews ranging from all genres of music. And while you're there, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all at Bringin' Back Pod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're bringing it backwards with Chris Koehn. Cool. All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Our podcast is all about you and your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Sounds great.
Fantastic. Why don't you first tell me where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Mexico City.
Okay. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, my mother is from Mexico and my father is German. So I grew up here. Always very fond and connected to music. As a kid, I really enjoyed going to the music stores and spending my summers in the US, like getting single tapes and CDs while my brother and friends were playing around. So I always had this deep connection with learning and listening to the music.
That's awesome. And you said you'd come to the States quite a bit you were doing having here?
Yes, we used to have my parents used to have a house in Texas.
Okay.
So it was this place with lots of woods and a lake. So we spent the summer, winter, Easter. So I spent since I was born up to 18 years, almost all my vacations over there. So mostly all the music I listened to was always in English, and that's part of why my music is mostly in English too.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you got into music by just collecting tapes and as a fan more so than a musician in the beginning.
Yes, and I also started playing guitar as a kid. I wanted to play Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and so I used to play like at parties and like theme parties, 80s parties and 70s parties and so on. And sometimes I wrote a couple of songs, but I never got into music like as a professional way. I always did it as a hobby. I studied architecture, and architecture is my main profession.
Oh,
and
amazing.
I have my design firm, and during the day I work on designs, and at night I turn into musician mode.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and what really got me into making music on a more professional level probably was my brother's death. about 15 or 18 years ago, and I wrote him a song at that time. And another friend of my brother was making a movie, and so he asked me, why don't we use the song you wrote for him for the main theme of the movie at the end. At that time, I didn't knew anything about recording and so on. So I got into a music studio from another friend, and he told me, since you played all the instruments and you sang, why don't you come one day and we do the song like from scratch. We record the song from scratch. And so I went on a Saturday, because at that time I used to work on another place. And I really felt the connection at the studio, and the amplifiers and the preamps, and I fell in love immediately. Mm-hmm. So that's when I decided, like, okay, music is my hobby, but I want to do it on a more a professional level. And wow. and the second, I think the second thing that really got me into music was I was talking to a friend of mine, a musician, and I always thought or had the idea of you have to have a band and to play a lot of venues, and then you write your songs, and then you record them, and then you make an album. Mm-hmm. And with this friend I was talking, and he was finishing recording his solo album, and he said to me, okay, when I finish, I will gather like the musicians to play in venues. So it really like stuck to me that I didn't needed to have a band. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started like making music on my own, because before that I used to have a band, and I wanted to sound more like a shoegaze movement, kind of more like Slow Dive or Sigur Rós or Radiohead, and my band members wanted to sound like 311, and so okay. it was completely opposite. And that's how I started into making music on my own at my home studio.
Oh, okay. So you started the band after you had written the song that made it onto the film?
Yes, at that time when I wrote that song, I had my band, and we played in a couple of venues. And after a couple of 3 years, like we separated, and I started making like my own project. And also because I really felt that my music had the power to connect and to heal and to create awareness. And my drive has never been like to be famous or so, but mostly like to connect with people, and that when they listen to my music, they feel better, and they a little bit of consciousness gets in their ears. Mm-hmm. So and I think at the end we all want to, although we seek different interests. Some of us want to be musicians or architects, or some people want to be accountants or lawyers or whatever. But I think the main thing we all have in common is we all want to be happy. And I think the thing when my brother passed away that left me and really stuck with me was that the only thing for sure we have in life is death. And the more we practice death, not in a morbid way, but in a Zen way, a Buddhist way, we can be happier. So that's like the main interest in my music.
Wow. Well, I don't know if you mind, like, was when your brother passed away, was it like a sudden thing, or was it something that you guys kind of?
It was an accident. Yeah, it was a really sudden. Yeah. After we were going after a party, and he had a car accident. There was a bus without lights, and he didn't saw it, so he crashed. And yeah, that was. It was really, really difficult for me and for my parents at the time, and I think through music I really got a grieving process and a way to internalize all the reflections about life and about how easy it is for us to die.
Yeah, that's so terrible. I'm so sorry. But
Thank you.
yeah. But as a way of like grieving, you wrote the song for him?
Yeah, the song for the movie, it was a song for him as a grieving process. But also, I started like writing a lot of songs, um, and in this kind of vibe of creating consciousness and awareness.
Okay.
And like that's the main message on most of my songs.
Okay. And once you had that song for the movie and you started recording, that's when you kind of had the band. You got the band together, or was the band thing happening prior to writing the song for your brother?
It was at the same time.
Okay.
I had the band, and with the band we recorded this song, and then a couple of songs afterwards. But as I was saying, there was like a mixture of sound between my
The
interests.
311 versus Radiohead direction.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So after a couple of years, we decided to split, and we're all good friends, but we had different interests, and so that's how I started my own solo project journey.
Okay. And then with your solo project, did you start playing out around town, or like did you record a record solo? Like what was the first thing that you did?
Yes, the first thing I did was an EP. It was titled Songs for Yoshimi. It's a 5-song EP, and I played some in venues here in Mexico, and it was interesting because probably at that time I wasn't interested in making like a musical career. But I was talking with a friend of mine who owned an independent label called Noiselab, and it was he is very respected in the music community. When Radiohead comes to Mexico, they ask him like, which songs should we play? And
wow.
And so for me, it was very like a nice step of recognition to be signed with this label, Noiselab label.
Sure.
So that's how I released my first EP, Songs for Yoshimi. That was in 2013.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I started writing a second album called Impermanence. It took me about 4 years because since I have my design firm, my musical process of making music is a bit slow.
Yeah, sure.
So
that makes sense. You gotta pay the bills, right?
Exactly. And this second EP was also really interesting because I got in contact with English producer Phil Vinal, who has worked with The Cure, Placebo, Radiohead, and some other artists. And I showed him my project. I told him like this was a very independent project and a very personal project, and if he would have the chance to listen to it, and he really enjoyed it. He told me it reminded him of the Velvet Underground, like this kind of rawness.
Cool. Yeah.
And so
that's quite a compliment, I would think.
Yeah,
right?
It was. I'm a huge fan of Velvet Underground, so I was really happy with the compliment. And he mixed the whole EP, and I released it with Arts and Crafts label, which is a Canadian Mexican label. They have artists like Timber Tambre and Feist, and so it was also a nice approach to be there. And I played in some venues also. And while I was playing, randomly in one of the concerts, at the end, a guy approached me and he asked me if normally when I play, I like to play a cover version of songs I like.
Yeah.
and on a down tempo version as my music. And so he asked me if I had recorded these cover songs, and at the time I only played them live. And he was the CEO of Cleopatra Records from Los Angeles.
Wow.
So we did a down tempo cover project titled "Music for Films." This was, and I think this was like the change, huge change in my career, because it took me 1 year to make it instead of 4.
Sure.
So it was a nice, interesting exercise. Jack White talks about it on "It Might Get Loud," that sometimes as the creative process, when you have deadlines, like you use all the innate tools you have and all you have learned unconsciously to get to the result. So because sometimes while making music, we don't have deadlines, and so you can take forever, like Chinese democracy.
Right. You're gonna have to set deadlines for yourself, right?
Exactly. And this exercise was really interesting for me because I saw that I could make music on a faster way than before, and I didn't have to take 4 years to make an EP. So, and there was the project, this Music for Films project has songs of Marvin Gaye, Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan, the
Oasis is on there. I saw there.
Oasis, exactly. And I also Phil Vinal also mixed the project, and then I mastered it with H.Newman in Montreal, and this was 2019. And then last year, with the whole pandemic thing, I saw a lot of concerts, like Instagram concerts and live Instagram.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, it was this euphoria about all these Instagram lives, and I wanted to make a concert that had more impact and that helped in a different way. So together with a nonprofit organization, we did this charity concert for elderly people and single moms affected by COVID, and we gathered more than $5,000.
Wow.
And musically was very interesting because I had to learn to play all by myself since there was no contact with people. So I did this.
You hadn't played those songs. Yeah, live from home, right? That's the record you did. Yeah,
exactly. And it was really, at the beginning, I thought it would take me a couple of weeks to set the songs, but it took me about 3 months because I was learning to do live looping with the Moog and the pedals and the 2 guitars, and to play drums, sing, and play guitars and harmonica at the same time. It was
oh my gosh.
Really, yeah. But at the end, I was really happy with the result. Probably because it took me out of my comfort zone to learn to do a live set by myself, and also with seeing the results of the people wanting to help and all the charity. So it was really, really moving. And so these couple of months I've been releasing the singles of the Live from Home project, which afterwards I mixed it with another producer and send it to Robot to master it with robots in Germany. So there wasn't any human contact. And yeah, it was the idea of the project was to do a responsible project of not gathering around with all the COVID stuff, and so and also I started writing a lot of new songs, which I'm finishing now. And it has been really nice because I've collaborated with some huge artists here in Mexico, and the fun thing also was that the project I designed called Chapel Studio, which is a really nice studio here in Mexico, at about 2 years ago. The client is now my producer, and now instead of being the architect on Chapel Studio, I'm like the musician recording there. So
That's so
it's
cool.
yeah, it's a really nice analogy that all hobbies are connected, and all disciplines. I like to talk a lot about that. All the hobbies we have are tools for our creative process.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love the videos, like you're talking about doing the, playing kind of everything with the pedals and this, and you're playing like a full drum kit and playing guitar at the same time and singing. There's a lot going on. That's a beautiful space you're in with all the guitars on the wall.
yes, thanks, Adam. Yes, it was really it was really challenging and
I
also
can
really fun.
imagine.
Like to completely sync the the drum and the hi-hat and the pedals and but it was a really nice exercise, and at the end, when I listen to the recordings now, I like, man, was I playing all that by myself at the same time? It's really
It's crazy. I mean, it's awesome. It's there. The videos are awesome. What you're doing.
yeah, and the videos were also like an idea to transmit this creative process, because probably if you listen to the song without the video, you'd say, okay, it's a nice live concert song, but if you know what's behind it, it gets a lot of it gets more sense to it.
No, totally. Yeah, I love the artwork you use too. Like the Bob Dylan, you covered Times Are Changing, and then the way you set the artwork up where you have his face on the record and you're holding it so you can see like the top of your hair kind of poking out the top.
Yeah.
It looks like you did that on the John Lennon cover too.
Yeah. I really enjoy with my wife, like taking these pictures like this with my vinyls. So it was a really nice exercise to do it for both for the Lennon and for the Dylan cover, and in a very respectful way, because I didn't want to appropriate the song, but to show that it isn't my song, so I'm only behind it, and that's why you can only see like my hair at the back.
No, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, yeah, you're just behind the song. I love that.
Exactly, like the song is the song, and it's like my interpretation with a very respectful way to these both geniuses, Dylan and Lennon.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is the most creative thing I've seen as far as like a photograph goes to do that. When it comes to covering a song and putting it together like that, it's really, really creative.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, I'm thinking of the next cover is probably doing the same thing. So I'm analyzing album covers.
Do you have to, that would be my next question. Do you have to see if the artist has like their picture on the record cover to choose the song if you're going to cover it?
Yeah, probably. Not always, but because I also did for example, the Leonard Cohen, the Future cover, and at the album cover, it's me like watching him at an exhibition at his hometown in Montreal, in a huge museum. So I would have to choose the song first, and then to see if they have a cover where I can mount my head into.
Yeah, they're so good. I think that's so creative.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks ago, I made we really have fun, my wife and I, having these photographic sessions. So this year is the 20th anniversary of the This Is It, the Strokes album.
Oh yeah.
So I had I took a picture of my wife with the legs and the torso sitting with the heels, and so
Oh.
it came out a really interesting photo. So and I posted on my Instagram, and it has I think it's the photo that have the most likes of all my Instagram. So probably I need to do a Strokes cover now.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Prince has a lot of pictures of himself on album covers too.
Yeah, a Prince would be a really nice exercise. He's a genius.
Yeah. I was trying to think of other artists that might have a picture of themselves on the cover. Morrissey,
Yeah.
you could do. He
Morrissey
always
would be
puts himself
great.
on the cover.
Yeah. Also, Bowie has some his face on some album covers. David
Okay.
Bowie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bowie does. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some others, but that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you picked based off of if they had a photograph of themselves on the cover.
No. I choose the song first, and then I see if they have a picture.
That's cool. That's really cool. And how do you choose the songs? Just based off of stuff that you like and would want to learn?
Yeah, probably. Well, for example, for the Music for Films project, we did a song selection. Mostly there were songs about protest. So and we had like 30 songs, and we selected these five: Marvin Gaye and the Hollies, and Oasis. But for my personal choosing, I think it goes to artists I admire, and I would love to play like a respectful homage.
Okay. I like that. And so you're working on new music now, like solo stuff? Or are you working on still doing more covers? Okay.
No, solo stuff, new material, and it's a 5-song EP, and I've already have finished 3 of the 5, and the fourth and the fifth songs are almost ready. So July and August probably I'll be finishing, and probably at the end of August I'll be releasing the first single.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and also to close like the help process and the help circle for the Live from Home charity concert, I will be making a short vinyl edition. So like a charity vinyl edition, so people donate, and they get to have the chance to get this signed vinyl, and all the profits will go to the same charity.
Oh, that's amazing. So you're going to put the cover songs on a record?
The Live from Home songs.
Oh, the Live from Home songs. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
since
really
it was
cool.
the main purpose of the concert, to do this charity. So it's like closing the circle of the helping project.
Sure. I love that idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, and the new material is coming really, really nice. Before this new EP, I've never like worked like with a producer fully. With Phil, he mixed all my songs, but they were mostly finished all by myself. So there wasn't any like come around from ideas or changing the structure of the songs. And now for this new EP with the collaborations of different friends and drummers and singers, it's getting like a new vibe, and I really think it's gonna be a nice project.
That's amazing. I cannot wait to hear it. Are you planning on doing any live performances coming up? I know stuff's starting to open up again. I'm not sure how open up is it in Mexico City?
It's starting to open. Like venues they still have like capacity restrictions, like 50%, like half of the venue, but they're starting to open. So I think after finishing these new songs, I will get into playing in some venues, and also I would love to. Mostly of my music is listened of my audience is in the U.S. So probably I don't know if this year or at the beginning of next year to do a small tour over there. I would love to.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's really awesome. Have you played here in the States yet or not yet?
No, not yet, but I'm working on it because I think it can be a really nice place to play.
I agree. I would love to. We'd love to have you here.
Yeah,
we love what you're doing. Yeah, so we'll expect some new music not next month, but almost next month in August.
Yeah, the last single, the full EP, the Live from Home EP will be released next month, by the end of next month. And then on August, I'll have released the first single of the new material.
Awesome. Very cool. I cannot wait. Thank you so much, Chris, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah. I have one more question for you before I let you go.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Yes, probably to do all the things you do with love. I know it sounds like a cliche, but like if you do the things from the heart and your passion, it will get you places you didn't think of. And also to never stop believing in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
Bringing it backward.